there is a quiet lie many of us carry, that being nice, agreeable, and endlessly understanding is the highest form of virtue. We are taught to be polite in the face of disrespect, to remain calm in the presence of manipulation, to keep giving chances, explanations, and kindness, even to those who have proven they do not value us. But Stoicism teaches something radically different. Not cruelty, not revenge, but boundaries, and above all, self-respect, because there comes a point where being nice is no longer kindness, it's self-betrayal. Epictetus once said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." Many people who treat you poorly already believe they know your limits. They assume you'll always respond gently, that you'll always forgive, that you'll stay no matter how poorly they behave, because you're nice. But what they don't expect is your shift, your silence, your refusal to continue being good to someone who continuously chooses to be careless. Let's make it plain. Stop being nice to people who mock your boundaries. The moment someone laughs at your standards, questions your need for space, or dismisses your requests for respect, they've made one thing clear: your comfort is not a priority to them. And when that happens, you don't explain harder, you withdraw. Stoicism teaches us not to beg people to treat us well. We teach them through presence and absence. Stop being nice to people who only show up when they need something. Fair weather friends, emotional opportunists, the ones who vanish during your storms but return when the skies are clear. Being useful is not the same as being valued, and the Stoic recognizes the difference. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. You do not need to argue for your worth. If people only come to you with empty hands and vanish when you're the one in need, you are not obligated to be endlessly available. You are allowed to let that door close. Stop being nice to people who manipulate you with guilt. The ones who say, 'You've changed,' when you've simply grown. The ones who frame your boundaries as betrayal. The ones who claim you're selfish for choosing peace over chaos. This is not love. This is control. And the Stoic does not bow to guilt masquerading as connection. You are not cruel for protecting your energy. You are not wrong for leaving when your worth is consistently forgotten. You do not owe them access just because they once had it. Stop being nice to people who gossip about others, because they will eventually gossip about you. A Stoic understands that those who casually spread poison are never safe to be close to. Seneca said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." That means you choose elevation over entertainment, substance over familiarity. If someone is comfortable tearing others down in front of you, they will tear you down when you're not around. Distance is not rude, it's wisdom. Stop being nice to people who constantly interrupt your peace. The ones who create drama where there is none. Who demand explanations for things that were never promised. Who require you to shrink, silence your truth, or walk on eggshells just to keep the peace. That's not peace. That's imprisonment. And the Stoic does not confuse emotional manipulation with connection. When someone consistently costs you your mental clarity, you stop adjusting, you start exiting. Stop being nice to people who weaponize your empathy. They know your kind heart. They've seen your willingness to help, to stay, to understand, and they twist it. They rely on your softness so they never have to face their sharpness. This is where kindness becomes a trap. Stoicism teaches you to know the line, the point where compassion turns into enablement. If someone takes your empathy as an invitation to mistreat you without consequence, you are not obligated to continue playing the role of the healer. Sometimes, walking away is the most compassionate thing you can do, for both of you. Stop being nice to people who only respect you when you're silent. The moment you speak your needs, they call you difficult. The moment you say, "This hurts," they call you too sensitive. The moment you express truth, they label you as negative or dramatic. But the Stoic does not trade truth for comfort. You do not need to be tolerated. You deserve to be respected. And respect means you don't have to mute yourself to keep the connection intact. Stop being nice to people who breadcrumb you, emotionally, romantically, socially, the ones who give you just enough to keep you interested, but never enough to feel secure. This is not love. This is not friendship. This is emotional manipulation dressed in politeness. Marcus Aurelius teaches us to stand upright, not be held upright. When someone gives you inconsistency instead of effort, your job is not to try harder. It's to reclaim your energy and give it to someone who doesn't make you guess. Stop being nice to people who ignore your boundaries and then accuse you of being cold when you enforce them. This is the cycle many of us are trapped in: overgiving, under-receiving, and being guilted when we finally say, enough. The Stoic path is not about being endlessly giving. It's about being wisely generous. Generosity without discernment leads to depletion. When someone continues to show they do not honor your limits, your kindness must stop being unconditional. And perhaps most of all, stop being nice to people who make you feel guilty for evolving. As you grow, not everyone will celebrate you. Some will resent the version of you that no longer fits their convenience. They'll say you've become distant, cold, aloof, but what they really mean is, I can no longer control you with the version of love I used to give. The Stoic doesn't regress to make others comfortable. You do not dim your light to keep others from feeling insecure. You let them feel what they need to feel, and you keep shining. This is not a call for cruelty. Stoicism does not encourage vengeance, arrogance, or cold indifference. It calls for discernment, for detachment from things that steal your peace, for emotional maturity that says, I can love people and still walk away from those who refuse to honor that love. Niceness without limits is not virtue, it's a lack of boundaries. You were not born to be a sponge for other people's dysfunction. You are not here to absorb abuse and label it patience. You are not a rehabilitation center for those unwilling to do their own healing. You are not a background character in someone else's ego-driven narrative. You are allowed to be kind and still say, no. You are allowed to be gentle and still choose distance. You are allowed to be loving and still leave. True Stoic self-respect is quiet. It doesn't yell. It doesn't chase. It doesn't argue for its right to be treated well. It simply removes itself, with grace, with clarity, with finality. So if someone constantly crosses your boundaries, drains your spirit, manipulates your kindness, or distorts your love, it's time to stop being nice. Not to punish them, but to protect yourself. Because at the end of the day, peace isn't found in always being agreeable. Peace is found in being aligned with your values, with your boundaries, and with the version of you that no longer sacrifices self-respect in the name of being light. That is Stoicism. That is self-honor. And that is the moment you stop being nice and start being real.